Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome in to the 9th episode of the FC podcast. As always, I'm your co-host, Killer Gunny 132, with my friend here, Toast 78901. How are you, buddy?
I was grabbing a giant jug of tea.
Giant jug of tea, Lipton tea.
Yeah, because I couldn't get Arnold Palmer. They were out.
I am disappointed at lack of brisk.
They don't sell brisk in this size.
Didn't you have one last week?
No. I had it wasn't brisk. It was I don't remember, but it wasn't. No, it was brisk.
Yeah, it was
You're
brisk,
right. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Then they didn't have that either. They were out of brisk and they were out of Arnold Palmer, so I had to settle for Lipton.
Sorry, we have Thumper the Rabbit in the background.
Who might be in on a discussion later. We'll just refer to him as Thumper the Rabbit.
Thumper the Rabbit.
I've seen these episodes.
Thumper the Rabbit. Anyway,
he's referring to Doctor Who, which he's catching up on the name of the Doctor.
I've seen these episodes before.
That was a giant.
Yes.
Which, if you guys haven't seen, you need to watch. If you're not a Whovian, then you need to go.
John Petrie. Yes.
Which, if you're not a Whovian, you need to go. That is our shameless self-plug for the day. Go and watch it. You'll make me happy. And if you do, not only will I send you cookies, but I will personally have a giant discussion with you. I will be the person that you can come to talk to whenever about it. You can't come to Gunny here, because he's an asshole and hasn't finished
I'm
the
only
season
like
yet.
4 episodes behind.
And 4 episodes behind, coming up to an episode that is entitled The Name of the Fucking Doctor. Okay? You're a piece of crap that didn't watch it, because you're lazy.
I'll get to it. Anyway, as always, we'll jump into our Battle Night recap for tonight's battles.
Yeah!
The battles between Red and Blue tonight, or yesterday, on Sunday, was on Schism, a 6v6 symmetric map, and on Monolith, a 4v4 symmetric map, also part of the Castle map pack. Or not the Castle, but it was a Majestic map pack. First on Schism. Just to put in summary, Red
Dominated.
raped everything.
The rape train still, at least according to Schism, had no brakes. There was a red victory by the 14th game in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which means that Blue only won 4 games.
Yeah. By the time the map was decided, but they won one in the exhibitions.
And there was also a tie at the last exhibition, Vanquish 1 versus Legacy. A 1-1 score on Liberation.
But yeah, that was and that was actually unexpected because Red usually struggles on these bigger maps. But they really won decisively.
They've been kicking dick in larger maps so far because they're a part of the rape train that hath no brakes. And not only that, they haven't had to replace their broom heads yet. Yeah. So they've just been able to keep on sweeping.
And now we go to Monolith, the Majestic map pack.
Which, by the way, is one of the worst maps to have ever been released. I hate this one. I'm glad that I went on leave before we had to play this, to be completely honest.
And on this map, it was dead even. When you look at the final game count, it was 14-13 Blue win.
It's not 14-13.
Yeah, if you count all the games, it's 14-13. When you count even the exhibitions.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Blue won 14 games.
It can't be 14-13. You want to know why it can't be? No, that's best of, saying how many you need to win the map. You need to win 14 games to win the map.
Yeah, and if you look down here, it was decided on that win. That was the
last
win.
What's the last game? What number?
26.
Okay, what's 26 minus 14?
There was no 27th game, so it was 14-12. 14-12, okay.
Gunny needs to learn to math.
Well, I didn't know there was not a 27th game.
That's why I was trying to point it out to you, but as an ignoramus, you were like, no, there's 27.
But yeah, it was a close game, or it was a close map. As you see, no army got more than 3 wins in a row.
No, and I don't think you mentioned this yet, or if you did, I didn't hear you. Blue won.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said that.
I don't know if you did, but anyway, Blue actually today decided that they were tired of the rape train having no brakes, and they jumped on, and a couple other people distracted the Red members on the map while they were playing, and the rest of the members decided to install brakes on the rape train while it was mid chug, and they put an end to it.
And when you look at top squads, VBD, good old fashioned VBD for Red, they went undefeated tonight, and the top squad for Blue was Legacy, who went 6-2-1.
6-2-1. Wait, hold on. Is 1 the loss or 1 the tie?
1's the tie.
Okay. Yeah. Here's something that I want to say. Actually, a quick little plug story here. I was talking to Gunny and a couple others, and he was listing things win, tie, loss. which didn't make sense to me, and I got into this huge argument about him. The way in which you do things in sporting events or anything like that is win, loss, tie, because ties are less common, so they're the afterthought. And I think it was you. I can't remember who else. Do you
Nick,
remember?
I think.
Yeah, it was like you and Nick that were like, no, it's win, tie, loss, because win is good, tie is meh, and then loss is bad. And we had this whole argument. So actually, in your listener mail this week, tell me whether it should be win, loss, tie, or win, tie, loss. If you say anything other than win, loss, tie, I'm going to have to shoot you. But I still want to know your opinion, so please do tell.
Yes, but that's how the battles ended up. So blue, really, they broke the red win streak.
Essentially,
Slowed them
also,
down a little bit.
They put brakes on the rape train, and they lit the, the head of the broom on fire.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they burnt all the bristles off.
I know Ghost Hammer in red likes to always say, break out those brooms. Well, you can't break out the brooms this week, Ghost Hammer.
Well, no, you don't understand. For the first map, red broke out the brooms, and then in the second map, blue broke the brooms.
Yeah, pretty much. Now we'll go to some FC news.
That's as we transition over into the other things so we can actually see what we're covering here. I'd like to say good for blue, good for the wars, I think. It's good to not have an army just sweep. Like, having every week be like a trade like that is good. That's when you know it's a good, strong war.
But we'll break into FC news now. And the first part is, we didn't cover this last week, we really should have, but we didn't. It was the top units and players for May.
It was not. It was the top units for March and April.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
We can't do May because May isn't done with yet.
May. So March and April. When we look down, first we'll look at players. The MVP for March and April was Angry Beavers, who had a score per death ratio of 52.12. Like, wow.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Followed by Highlight and Guzzy, who got 49 point some other, and then Guzzy 47 point some other. Harry with 42, Unfolded with 42. Man, Harry beat him by 0.3. 0.327 in terms of score per death ratio.
And then Houdini had 41. OCRUs is the only blue representative, had 40.
Blue Army represent!
Purely Trigger had 38. Right behind him was Relapse with 36. And number 10 was Dark Remalf.
I think that's like a MILF, but it's a mouth. Mother all would like to fuck.
It sounds like someone's trying to say mouth.
It's a mother all would like to fuck.
Okay.
MALF. Okay. So Dark Remouth. So they're redoing the mother. Yeah, this is going to get really tricky because I'm assuming that they have to redo her because it's post-mortem.
All right, and then let's move over to the top units.
Oh, okay. We're not even going to cover the other stats and top players because Gunny's a cheap bastard. I guess he's just going to tell you that you need to go and look it up on your own.
The top teams. Number 1 was Vanquish. MVP, they had a most valuable unit ranking of 8.7. Like, wow. Vanquish really came out to play. VBD's usually the top squad in red. Vanquish overtook them by 0.6 points.
0.6? Actually, 0.581. No,
I was
2.
rounding. But, and then number 2, of course, was Violent by Design, who's always been on this list ever. I don't think there's a point where they weren't on this list. With an 8.1 ranking. Number 3 was Legacy with a 7.7.
You know, that's going to be really hard to, equalize the thing because of that scream. Followed by Second Nature and then Sedulous, who got 7.688 and 7.505 respectively. If you guys are ever wondering how do they calculate the most valuable unit rating, there's actually a little breakdown here on the thing. However, to be honest, it'd be much better if you just go and look at the thread for explanation, because this has to do with scaling factors, and it looks like arc tangents and a bunch of other stuff, which if you don't understand math isn't going to make much sense to you. The next part of FC news that I think we should probably cover is the FC Top 5.
Yes, we have not given Blaze his due on this show, and I think we should. The Top 5 is great. It's one of the best things I've seen come through here. Both episodes were fantastic.
We gave a bit of a background when we interviewed Zeta, but he handed it off to Blaze, so I think we do have to give him a bit more of a shout-out here for this one.
And the first episode was great. The second episode was even better. Like, I love the music choice in episode 2, even though some people didn't like it.
Yeah, I saw in the comments people were like, I didn't like the music, and I'm like, you have problems. Go find a hole.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when he's going to do it, how often, but it seems like he's doing it on a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah, I think that's what he's shooting for. 1 week to get clips in it and the second to release.
And, of course, he has a judging panel to judge the clips.
Oh, man, he takes 2 weeks to release.
Oh, gosh.
You want to know how long he goes for? Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Okay, then. But
you can tell what kind of a mood I'm in, listeners.
But yeah, Blaze, I mean, this is an open invite. We'd love to have you on the show and talk about the FC Top 5, what you're doing now. That would be awesome.
We would. Also, we'd like to just talk about your editing stuff in general.
Yeah.
I know that I've actually considered on top of, I brought this up before, Toast Tirades, but if you recall, as I wanted to do kind of like freelance gaming journalism as a side thing, and we brought up that a good way to do that is YouTube stuff. I'd like to just talk shop with you, essentially, in terms of editing and stuff like that, from one editor to another.
Okay, and then the next part we'll go into is there's some big things happening next week. The biggest thing on Tuesday is that...
obviously my penis.
Besides that.
On May 21st? It's
May
obviously
21st.
the fact that that's when all my essays are due for my finals. That's the big thing.
Other than that,
it
is the new Xbox announcement. The new Xbox being announced by Microsoft at a press conference. It's going to be all about the new Xbox is all about. We'll get a name. We'll get specs. We'll get possibly some games. I don't know.
There's a new Xbox?
Yeah. Yep. Get ready to shell out like $500. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I of course know that this is coming. We brought it up on the show before. If they don't name it the 720, I'm going to cry, and I'm still going to call it the 720 because I can.
What I've heard is either going to be called just the Xbox or
Which
Infinity.
is bad. We've already argued that before,
Yeah.
and Infinity would still be kind of lame. Especially because it's been talked about that they would have, like, their thing be Xbox with raised to the infinity power, and that pissed me off. Because I made the argument that those of you guys who know math, you technically can't raise something to infinity because you'd be raising it to a concept, not a number. Infinity is not a number; it's just a concept.
Yeah,
which
also
doesn't really click.
It would be kind of a problem because when you have the next Xbox after the Infinity, what the hell are you going to call it? You can't
Infinity
be
plus one. Infinity plus one.
Xbox Infinity 2. Infinity squared.
And then after that, it'll be infinity to the infinity. So it'll be Xbox Infinity, which is going to get really complicated really quick.
Yeah. Something on that note, we'll hit our first break.
This first break is going to be brought to you by Microsoft. We are now getting sponsored by them. They're paying for all of our storage fees.
Yep.
Great things like that. Unfortunately, they're not. I really wish they were. This is making me very sad. Also in FC news, this needs to be addressed.
What?
We were not given any codes yet. Which makes me sad.
No, we have
face.
not. Yeah, you guys need to donate those codes.
This makes me sad.
I'm working with Metkill to get the new codes, so we'll have that restocked probably next week. By next week, we'll definitely have that restocked.
Yes, we will. The thing that upsets me, guys, though, is like I said, we started this. We can't run it on our own. This is a community thing. We need you guys to band together. Join together with the band, so to speak.
Halo Unity is not going to give us like $60 every month, so we need donations.
So yeah, we're going to go ahead and cut to break then. If you're listening the correct way, either in the embedded Podomatic player on iTunes, you're going to end up being soothed by the sounds of Rise Against. If not, you're going to have generic music, and to be honest, I don't feel sorry for you.
The same music. It doesn't change every week.
Yeah, you're listening to it on YouTube. I don't feel sorry for you.
All right, so with that, stay tuned to the FC Podcast.
Don't change that channel.
And welcome back into the 9th edition of the FC Podcast. Back with Toast and Killer Gunny. And our guest who came back, who was here last week, Papa Big Dick.
Hello.
Which, apparently, I got the feeling that you guys didn't like Papa Big Dick.
Why is that?
At least according to Bubba's listener mail, which we'll address later, he said to everyone except for Papa Big Dick. So he apparently doesn't count you as part of the crew. I don't think he likes you very much.
He's our honorary guest.
Yeah, he is our
That'll
honorary
make
guest.
appearances.
Actually, probably quite frequently, because it turns out that these podcasts just happen to coincide with our normal hangouts due to people's time schedules. So, unfortunately, if you don't like him, sucks to be you. He's only going to join us for the general discussion segments. If it's FC related, he probably won't be here because he
has nothing to
FC.
add.
Yeah.
But anyway, this week's discussion on FC Roundtable.
That's what we're going to name it. I like that.
Is video game movies and why they're bad. And
No. The official name of the segment is video game movies and why they shouldn't ever exist.
yes. We thought it was interesting because recently there was a report indicating that an AC movie will be coming out May 2015.
AC, for those of you who live under a rock, does not stand for air conditioning in the video game world. It stands for Assassin's Creed, and actually happens to be my number one series of all time up until Assassin's Creed 3, which we'll be discussing in the discussion to follow once Gunny finishes the games, because we can't have spoilers.
I'm about a quarter of the way through Brotherhood for a little update, so I'm getting there.
And then we will, oh man, you guys are going to have me rip into that. If you guys like listening to me rant, wait until you hear my rant on AC.
Yes, but that's for another day. Now as far as AC, or not AC, but as far as video game movies go, there have been a lot of movies made on video games. I mean,
unfortunately.
Some of the more popular ones that people would know would be, of course,
Resident Evil,
Resident
Silent
Evil,
Hill.
and then Tomb Raider with, what's her name? Angelina Jolie. There you go.
Yeah.
There's actually going to be reboots, so I'm excited.
Apparently there was also one made for Hitman, Far Cry, Max Payne, Tekken, Prince of Persia, which that was big.
Yeah.
I guess technically they said that Pokemon counts, but that was a manga originally. Like, I don't count that. That's not based off the video game, bro. The video games are based off of something else.
Yeah. You have Street Fighter up there, Tekken, even.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
The movies that were made in the 90s of Mortal Kombat with the cheesiest acting ever. Although
However,
Johnny
I think
Cage,
the web page or the web series that they had on YouTube, that one was actually
that was decent. That was
nice.
decent.
Was Silent Hill really a video game first? I thought it was a movie first.
No, it was a video game first.
It was a video game in the 90s.
Yeah, it was a decent video game in the 90s too. Old Silent Hill was pretty good.
Yeah, and then some of the upcoming movies that you might have heard of, Ratchet and Clank, Assassin's Creed that we just mentioned. One that surprised me was Angry Birds.
A movie for Angry Birds.
Where you launch birds at
Oh my
pigs.
God.
I mean, come on.
Also, there's apparently a reboot of the Tomb Raider series coming up. There's a Warcraft one, which I'm assuming they're referring to World of Warcraft. And then also a Need for Speed movie, which I feel is just going to be Fast and Furious, but with a different title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I take that back. Old original.
Back before they were working for the CIA.
Yeah, before they were working
taking
for the
down
CIA.
fucking tanks.
Yeah, because now, to be completely honest, Fast and Furious has gotten fucking ridiculous, and it's not about the racing anymore.
Yeah, and then of course you always have your Resident Evil film that comes out every few years.
Yeah, just for the hell of it.
Like 2 years. Right?
Yeah, just for the hell of it, just because they can. Also announced, but not necessarily confirmed in terms of, they are for sure making it. Include titles such as Devil May Cry, Uncharted, Deus Ex, another Tekken movie. Or
Splinter Cell looks interesting.
Splinter Cell, that I think could be done
I'm
alright.
liking that.
Resurrection of Mortal Kombat. It's literally titled Mortal Kombat Resurrection. Street Fighter, which makes me cringe.
I'm just picturing it. It's like that movie. Oh my god, that movie based on the kids game. The fighting robots. Like you would
Real
There was
Steel.
a-
Real Steel. The
There
one
was
on
a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie.
Yes.
I feel like it was
Oh
based on
my
that.
god!
You never heard of it?
I've
It's,
never heard of that.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman
was
is
in
in
it. Yeah.
Real Steel.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I need to watch this now. Also, up there are God of War, Portal, and Half-Life. Which that disturbs me, because Portal, I feel, is fine how it is. Here's the thing with Portal. You can't make it super interesting because
Yeah,
it's fun
'cause
as
it's
a puzzle game.
It's a puzzle game.
Half-Life could be done, but I
Please
feel they're
don't
going to kill
touch
it.
that.
No, but
Don't.
They're going to kill it, just like they're going to
Because
kill
Gordon
my AC.
Freeman doesn't talk.
Exactly.
Neither does Shell.
Well,
so
to
how
be
are they going to do
completely
that
honest, you can still do a movie without talking. There's that film by, what's his name? Oh, God, Mel Brooks, called Silent Film.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that?
No.
It's about a guy who writes a script for a silent film and takes it to Hollywood to try to get it produced. So, he's trying to get the silent film made in like the 80s.
Yeah.
But the movie itself is also a silent film. There's no word said in the movie except for one word towards the end, and it's no.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a silent film about silent films.
Well, and half of the main guy is Gordon Freeman, and he doesn't talk.
Oh, yeah, it would still be definitely different. I would fear for it.
But just put it out there. I mean, the one guy that The only guy in my mind that can play Gordon Freeman is Bryan Cranston.
Well, see,
He looks exactly like Gordon Freeman. I'm just gonna put that.
No,
out.
well, I mean, think about it. It's about.
You know who I want to play Eli?
Play me.
No.
Eli. Okay.
Eli Vance.
Okay.
I want Morgan Freeman.
Yes,
The old black guy role.
Yes, yes.
No, but I'm saying, like, I have faith in it only because it's a Valve game, and I feel like Valve isn't going to sell out to, like, some big media...
They can't even count to 3. I don't trust them to write a script.
I heard that. I heard that Valve was if a movie was going to happen, they'd be inside the writing
That's what I'm
room.
saying. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like
they
they'd
would
be,
for
like,
sure.
right behind the director, like, following every step of the way. So I feel like, I have a bit of confidence. Not that much.
It'd be a really short movie, though.
It'd be really short and very difficult to film.
It'd be incredibly short. They'd never
Why
be
would it
able
be
to.
short?
They'd never be able to get to act or scene 3.
Why? Oh, you're gonna run that joke into the ground.
I'm
Anyway,
so gonna run into the ground. Other ones that have been made, the only decent movie so far in terms of live action or film or anything that's been done like that was, of course,
it was Forerunner Dawn.
Yep.
That was great. I love
that was decent.
Yeah.
Also, they're kind of hybrids. Well, Embers is strictly animation. Assassin's Creed Embers. Assassin's Creed Lineage is kind of a hybrid where they have like the game footage going on in the background with live action people that they've also somewhat digitized. That was really good. That talks about Ezio's father. That was decent. But in terms of a full live action AC game, yeah.
I just...
It has the premise where it could work. It's just you.
Well, here's the other thing. They're gonna, if they do, it's been talked about that they'll do AC1, right?
Would they?
Yeah.
Well, what I hear is that when people make video game movies, they want to have their own original storyline because they want,
But then it can't be canon.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's my problem with it.
That's
It's not
the
going to be
problem.
canon unless they have
well-
a new protagonist that's run by a different guy.
See, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with taking, like, for example, like, what they did with not Mortal Kombat, Assassin's Creed and Halo, they added to the canon.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine if they
Developed
add
it
to the
from a new
canon.
perspective. That's the way I
Yeah.
want to see, like, video game movies, like, from a new perspective.
Yeah.
Like, say, with Portal, they had,
What
like...
they could do with AC1 is address Altair's life after the events of 1 and in between the brief segments that you see in Revelations. Because in Revelations you see Altair's storyline, but you only see parts of it, and they're so many years apart.
Yeah.
You don't actually see his full storyline.
Yeah.
That would be okay if they add to canon. If they just do AC1 though, here's my concern. You have how many people you've got to kill?
In what? In AC1?
AC1.
Like 9.
10 people.
10 people.
9 Templars and then Al Mualim.
Yeah.
My problem is,
Spoiler.
how do you fit that? Yeah, spoiler. If you haven't played the game, I don't know what's wrong with you. It came out in 07 or 08.
07,
yeah. So with that many people to cram into one little instance of time, I'd be a little worried.
Yeah.
Because I feel that they would kind of skimp on it a tiny bit. Or like, the whole movie would be like, in the town, go kill the guy. Go to the other town, kill that guy. Go back to Jerusalem, kill this other guy. Now go back to Acre and kill this other guy. Like, it would just be so rapid fire that you wouldn't have any built up. Or they wouldn't have any in-depth look at it.
Or what they could do is they do what comic book movies do. They take like an original storyline, they have their own little twist on it. They have their little.
But then it's not canon. Then it's not canon.
Well, it's not canon. But...
That bugs me. I won't watch it if it's not canon. Like, okay, the way in which superhero movies stretch canon is already enough for me.
Well, I mean, think about it this way, like, comic book origins, there's, like, at least 9 different origins for each superhero. So, I mean...
Yeah.
Like, with the way that Marvel does it, there's a Marvel, like, comic universe and the cinematic universe.
Yeah, there is.
That's why you see
they
some,
have
like,
two different universes, so that's, like, slightly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's alright.
But I feel like with video game movies, that can't be applied in the same way at all. Like,
It
there's always
can't.
one origin.
Yeah, there's
unless
one
they
origin.
consider it a reboot, which is weird. Like, they release, like, a movie with a new video game. But
Like, redo AC1?
But that's so, like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I can't see, like, video game movies working, like, twisting
Yeah.
canon and everything like that,
Yeah.
without making a new canon.
Yeah. So, in terms of that, that's definitely where I stand. I don't feel that video games should ever spawn movies or movie series. I don't like it. And my primary argument for that is I very much see video games as a art form. They are the modern day art form. Oh my god.
What is that?
I
What
don't
is
know.
that?
Extreme Speed
July
Genocide?
13, 2013 in Japan.
Okay, we'll look at that in a second. We just saw something on the page that we're looking at. I'll address here in a second. But essentially what I was saying was I see video games as a new art form. It combines acting and voice acting of stage with the cinematics of cinema, with the music of the music world, with the writing and plot lines of literature. You have and character development. You have so much crammed into one thing that you literally are like a hybrid of all these different arts. And then it breaks the fourth wall by putting you in charge of the storyline. And so to make a movie off of that, I feel it's, to be honest, I see it as a step backwards.
I think number one, first and foremost, is that when you're watching a movie, you're not interacting with the movie.
Exactly.
One of my favorite game journalists, Adam Sessler, he had a segment on this. He talked about video game movies can't work because the player is so used to being, in the story. He's interacting with the story. You can't do that in movies, so it feels wrong.
Well, not only that, so much of the dialogue is based out of the fact that you have control of that character. Yes. If you notice in video games, what they do a lot is they don't directly break the fourth wall, but they have implications that break the fourth wall, such as putting decisions in your hands or stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. That becomes so integral to you defining the character. I mean, you want to talk about people defining the character, look at what originally Bungie did with Chief. You know what I mean? Like, not showing anything or, like, not showing what he looked like or anything like that. You got to determine a lot of that for yourself. Yeah. That was you being put in control.
Yeah, they had to do that they want you to feel like you can put whoever you want inside the suit.
I mean, 343 has kind of broken that now. With the legendary ending of Halo 4, spoiler alert!
If you read the books in uniform, you already know what he looked like. But I mean, I still think you shouldn't show his face, like, on screen.
They're going to. They're so going to. It's coming. It's not going to come until the last one. Mm-hmm. Like, this one, they showed his eyes. I think in the next one, they're going to show, like, his, like, chest or his dick or something. And then in the sixth one, they'll show his whole body.
Anyway, but, I mean, when you look at something like Forward into Dawn, that worked just fine, and that wasn't a movie, really. It was a short series of some sort.
That's the thing, though. It's short. It came in a short burst. I think that's really how, it's like cutscenes. Like, what happened with, with a lot of video games with those cutscenes. It works because they're,
they're a bridge.
Yeah, they're bridge. They're integral to the storyline and everything. And most importantly, they come in a short burst.
Well, not only that, it's kind of like bridge games. I mean, for example, with that one, you had what was going on in between the events of...
What, you talking about Forward to Dawn?
Yeah.
Forward to Dawn, what was that? That was right before the Covenant became a thing.
Yeah. And so the thing is, it's kind of like that bridge kind of thing that gives some kind of background. I think that's fine. It's when you try to redo something that's already set in stone in terms of canon. Yeah. Like, for example...
You add in.
Well, like, for example, that's how games like ODST worked. And Reach worked. You know what I mean? They were part of the canon, but now you were able to make something from that. Yeah. If you do that with a movie, that's fine. But if you're going to if you're going to remake a storyline that is already canon for film, it's not going to... It's going to fall apart.
Yeah. I think number one reason also why Forward and Dawn worked is because that whole production was headed by 343. 343 had their hands all over that.
Yeah. If you're going to be making a movie from a video game, you need the original writers in there with you. Mm-hmm. And you need to have a copy of that series' Bible on, like, right next to you. Like, I'm sorry, but if you're going to do, like, a Fallout thing, you need to have the Fallout Bible right next to you.
Real quick, if you've never read the Fallout Bible and you're a Fallout fan, go read it.
Oh my god, it is amazing. I haven't worked all the way through it.
It's still
decent, but it is amazing, whatever. I've read every single page on the wiki, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Every single page on that wiki, every single page on the Elder Scrolls wiki.
Yeah.
I
was there when you went through the Elder Scrolls
He was there when
wiki.
I did that, and I was like speed reading, and he was like, how are you getting this much information? I was like, can't talk, learning. And then like I'm throwing facts out, I'm like, hey, did you know this happened in Tamriel? Hey, did you know this happened in Cyrodiil? Hey, did you know this one happened in Vardenfell? Did you know that? And he's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, well, now you do.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I think for me, number one thing is don't make it just to make a quick buck. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you see with the fucking Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, exactly.
With the 6th one, the 7th one, and the fucking 14th one coming out, it's kind of like, oh, more explosions, guns, and more...
Well, I mean, they're also kind of following the games pack. Resident Evil throws out games like nothing.
No, that's the thing, like, they just name drop, like, oh, we're just gonna drop fucking, I can't even remember the names. The giant biochemical one,
I don't know
Fucking... Dude, I don't know. I didn't like Resident Evil.
I played like one Resident Evil game and like watched one movie.
The PS1s, but that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of money making, that's something I'm really going to talk about and stress in terms of video games when we have our IC discussion. You want to know why? Because the title of Black Flag changed recently.
What?
It was entitled Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which implies that it was like Revelations and Brotherhood, and that it was a continuation of the game storyline that happened before. This would be an add-on, an addendum, if you will, to AC3.
Kind of like the Half-Life episodes.
Kind of like the Half-Life episodes. Now, the name has changed to Assassin's Creed 4.
What?
Black Flag.
Yeah.
What?
Which automatically implies that this is a new storyline, although it is connected, it is a new storyline, fully new in terms of canon. It is not an addendum, which also means that it must be a full feature-length game.
But I thought the main character was like a descendant of, what's his name?
He's the grandfather of Connor, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Well, actually, I won't say that because it's kind of a spoiler alert. But my point is, you're now promising a full feature. Like, for example, with Revelations and Brotherhood, you didn't expect a full game with a new engine, with new shiny stuff that had all this new stuff. You saw it as an addendum to number 2. Yeah. And Brotherhood fully demonstrated that. You've seen that because you've played it. You pick up exactly where you leave off in number 2.
And I remember when I first played Brotherhood, like the first time after playing Assassin's Creed 2, I was like, this is like Assassin's Creed 2.5.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what it felt like.
And then Revelations is 2.75. And then you hit 3, and then this was supposed to be 3.5. And they're like, nope, 4. And I'm like, you do realize that you're skipping all the addendums and going straight into something that is supposed to be a new production in less than a year. Come on, Ubisoft. Get your fucking shit together. If that doesn't scream, I'm here to make money, then I don't know what does.
It's just... It's going down. Like, there was so much promise in the series and everything. When it began with, like, with 1 and 2, like, it had such a vast and open universe and everything. But now it's just kind of like, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Let's just make it.
Okay, so we just decided to look up the thing that we were talking about. It happens to be a Pokemon movie. It was called Extreme Speed Genesect Mewtwo Awakens, which the full name in Japanese translates to Pocket Monsters Pokemon Best Wishes, the movie. Extreme Speed Genesect Mewtwo Awakens, which is a fucking hell of a title.
What the fuck?
It is the 16th movie to be released, and it looks like this is going to be from the X and Y generation looking at the Pokemon because it has Mewtwo's evolution in there. If you see that on the cover. And it has also a really weird robot-looking thing that reminds me of Gundam.
It looks like a robot bug.
Yeah, actually, no, it says right here that it's based off of Black and White.
Genesect. The name's Genesect.
If that's Mewtwo's evolution,
Genesis
Mewtwo looks like a bitch.
You're so fucking creative!
Yeah, you're real creative there.
Genesect.
The film setting is based on New York City. The
What?
Central Park is a key location.
What?
The inclusion of Mewtwo and his evolution. There's the voice actor for Pikachu, if you're curious. So yeah. Oh, Red Genesect is apparently an ancient Pokemon revived by Team Plasma, and the leader of the Genesect army, originally called Project G. And then the successful clone of Mew created by Team Rocket.
There's a clone of Mew now?
Which was originally Mewtwo, but now
yeah.
there's successful created by Team Rocket, hailed as most powerful. Okay. But that doesn't look like Mewtwo originally looked. That's my concern. Like, they're implying that it's the same Mewtwo, but that's not what Mewtwo
They put its
looks
ass
like.
on its head. Like, that's really what it is.
It looks like he has a giant, strange dildo on the back of his head. And then, like, a spoiler for the top of a car.
It looks like it has a ferret, like, attached to its neck. That's
And
what it
then
looks like.
there's a
Don't bring
just
my
add.
ferrets into this.
That's what it looks like.
Don't bring my ferrets into this.
Anyway...
Point aside, community, what I'm going to say right now is I want all of you to write your local congressmen, write your game developers, write your actors, write your screenplay writers, write everybody. I want you to write Lucasfilms about this, and I want you to tell all of them to go shove it, and that video game movies should never exist. A video game based off of a movie is okay, but if you go in the other direction, because of the amount of player sustainability that video games rely on, it's doomed for failure.
Yes, I agree 100%. How about you, Papa Big Dick?
Just don't. Like, really, just don't.
That's why I tell. Originally, Gunny was like, "Yes, we'll have a discussion on video game movies." And I said, "And why they should never exist."
Yeah.
And then he types it in. And you originally said in the thing you didn't put the NT in the notes here, and you said video game movies and why they should exist. And I was like, "No, what are you going to argue for? No."
No, but I think video game live action things can be successful when you go, fucking Forerunner Dawn. But full-length movies, I don't think can work.
Yeah, essentially, I don't think that full-length films should be done in general with video game stuff.
No. Once again, go short, like a short little series, 5-parter like Forerunner Dawn, and I think you're good. And also make sure the video game company is totally involved. Make sure they're involved in every creative decision.
Make sure that it's canon, and also ensure that essentially what it is it's filler. Like, don't redo a game that's already been done. Yeah. Do something that continues or provides backstory, but don't, like, for example, don't try to remake AC-1. Maybe explain Al-Mualim's story and why he decided to, go as power-hungry as he did with the Templars. Or, talk about something that happened with Altair that we didn't get to see. But don't just, fucking go straight into it.
Yeah, exactly.
And more importantly, just don't go in it for the money. Like, that's... Like, you could see where, like, all these, like, video game movies are headed towards, like, all that Silent Hill and the Dead or Alive movie.
The Resident Evil.
The Resident Evil. Like, just do it just to make a good movie.
Any art that is produced for money's sake is not decent art. I'm just gonna go ahead
Okay.
and say that right now
Very good thought.
in all fucking forms. So yeah, guys, we're gonna go ahead and transition to a break now. Gunny decided to pick this break's music. It's gonna be Arco Arena by Cake, who we are seeing on Thursday.
Yes,
Woo!
For free, because they're playing at a Kings rally, because the Sacramento Kings are now staying in Sacramento, our hometown. Gunny's a huge Kings fan. I'm just going to the rally for cake.
Cake!
both the band and the food.
Yeah, both the band and the food. If they have cake and they serve cake while I'm watching cake, I'll pay like $20
Cakeception.
for cake, so I can have cakeception, because I think that'd be fucking awesome. But so yes, go ahead and enjoy the sweet sounds of Arco Arena while we go ahead and say stay tuned, keep listening, don't change the channel, and say goodbye, Papa Big Big Big.
Bye, Papa Big Big.
Stay tuned. Yes, And welcome back into the FC podcast with your friends Gunny and Toast.
In case you didn't know, I'm Gunny.
And I'm Toast. Anyway,
Confuse the little children at home.
it is
yes.
time for our last segment of the show, sad face. It's time for listener mail, where you guys are the show.
Mail. So yeah, definitely this has become, this has gotten big enough, that it has become its own segment.
Yes, I mean, yeah, we have to
With
take
the
a break
discussions
because it
that have
takes so
into it.
long, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys bring in good content.
Good content. However, we're still averaging about 4 pieces a week.
3 or 4, yeah.
I'd like a bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just greedy. But
Jesus.
the way that, yeah, Jesus needs to. But the way that I see it is we give to you our content and you can give back unto us. And by doing so, you're also giving back to the community. We might, you know what? We might actually start making, you know what I thought about? We could do podcast awards that people
Like
can
what?
display in their SIG. Like send in enough listener mail or donate codes or something like that. And people can display to show how big of fans they are of yours truly.
Actually, my idea was that, I'll say it here on the air, since, Fuzzy, our good friend, donated 800 Microsoft points to us to use for, different things. And I thought, why don't we give that away on the podcast? And my idea I just came up with is, one of these weeks, I don't know what week it'll be, but we'll be raffling off that 800 Microsoft points. And how it'll be raffled off is you have to send in listener mail to qualify for the 800 Microsoft
You
points.
have to bring up legitimate points. You can't just say
You can't just say,
penis.
hi, I want money, bye.
You can't just say penis. You have to bring up legitimate points. Actually, we're going to start it now. We're going
Now,
to do
okay.
it. We're going to do it
Okay.
in a month from now.
A month from now.
4 weeks.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And this is how we're going to do it. Every time you send in listener mail in the next 4 weeks, you're only allowed 1 entry per week
Okay.
as listener mail. Okay? You send it in, you get a point.
Okay.
Okay? You get 2 points if it's very in-depth, 3 points if it's very in-depth, and you also offer a suggestion to the show that we use on air. At the end of it, however many points you have is how many versions of your name go into the hat that we draw from. So for example, say somebody gets 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1. That would be 6 points. They have 6 names. They have 6 entries into the raffle. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just pulling 5 pieces out.
My big issue with that becomes that I don't want everyone to feel they have to write like an essay to us. I mean, like Bubba Bishop doesn't. I love him for it, but I don't want to tell everyone write an essay. Otherwise,
You don't have to write an essay. I just said in depth.
Well, okay. Well, let me be more.
You
specific.
don't need, okay, I'm not saying that you have to write an essay. Maybe, apparently I didn't clarify that. You have to essentially produce good content that is focused, that not only responds to what we ask you to talk about, like how I always say, here's your mission for the week. It not only responds to that, but it also brings up good points or something that we can talk about, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, it's very it's not just, hey guys, love the show. It's, hey guys, love the show gets you 1 point. It's, hey guys, love the show. Here's what I think about this. Here's what I thought about this. And maybe you should include this. That gets you 2. And the third one is if you offer us something that we use on the show. Like, for example, you offer, I don't know, in one of your pieces, hey, you know, I've got this piece of music that I've been working on and I want you guys to use it as a break, or maybe work in partnership with you guys for graphics or something like that. Or you offer us a segment that we decide to use. Kind of like, you know, how on the site, how there's the creator ribbon that you get if you suggest something and then War Council uses it. Something like that, where you suggest something to us and we use it.
Okay. So, basically what you're saying, just to clarify, was that people get points to the next month.
Yeah.
And then those points will be, in a sense, entries.
Yes. So here's
Into a
here's
raffle.
episode 9.
Okay.
This week will count, so it'll be 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then 13th is when we will do the drawing.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. There you go. See what I did there? See what I did there? And, so you get 1 point for sending in listener mail, saying, oh, hi, and just kind of talking about it. 2 points for that week's listener mail. You only get a point for 1 listener mail per week, by the way, per show. 2 points if you give us something in depth, like, you know, I like the show. Here's what I thought about this. Here's what I did about that shout out. Here's what I think you guys should include, that kind of stuff. For giving feedback, like legitimate feedback. And then 3 points, you get an extra point, essentially, if you're able to suggest us to something that we decide to use on the show.
I think, you said this week will count. I say we make next week count, because now people know. You know, I don't want to give anyone a head start.
Okay, well then we're gonna do the drawing on the 14th show.
Okay.
But it's not lucky number 13.
I know, but...
No, we're starting this week.
I'm all about fairness here at the FC Podcast.
Well, here's what I'm going to suggest.
Or we can just cut it down by a week and have it on number 13.
So we just do 3 weeks worth?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll do it that way.
Right.
You should be able to get enough points then, as long as you're good enough at, you know, actually contributing. Contributing to our computers. So we're gonna start now. We'll do it for, then it'll be a month thing. It'll be 3 weeks and then the drawing. Okay. Sorry,
so next
guys.
week will be...
Sorry for all that long explanation. We were working this out in live. You got to see the creative process at work here. Which usually the creative process is Gunny makes an idea, I revise the idea, and then he revises me because he thinks that I'm an asshole. And so starting this week, we're gonna do 3 weeks of you guys sending stuff in. We'll judge it on a point basis. We'll also keep track of it in the post, letting people know how many points they have. Yeah. And then the 14th, we will do the drawing.
Yeah, and just
live
clarify,
on air.
Next week this starts, so send in your listener mail this week and it will be counted. This episode's listener mail does not count. Next week's will.
Oh,
next week's will.
Okay, then this one doesn't. This is just the announcement.
Yeah.
We're gonna touch on it. Go ahead and tell all your friends, by the way, that we're doing this.
Yes.
Let your friends, let your family know, let your dog know.
Hide
They
your
should
kids,
listen
hide
to
your
the
wife,
podcast.
because they're raping everybody up in here. Anyway.
I'm gonna start climbing in your windows and snatching your people up if you don't send me in listener mail, Yeesus.
Let's get to the listener mail then.
Alrighty then. Starting out at number 1, Gunny, take it away.
Our first piece of listener mail was from a new member, Jumaji.
Who is brand new, by the way, enlisted in Blue Army, just giving a little background here. Turns out he was in a party the other night with some people. Gunny was in the party with him. I was actually at his house. And we ended up bringing up he ended up bringing up the podcast, and it turns out that was one of the first things he did when he joined FC, was he listened to all of our shows.
Yeah.
And I was so happy. I was like, I cannot believe. So little shout out to you. You're awesome. I love you. You might get cookies in the mail.
Alright, and his mail is entitled Something Interesting, and it goes, and quote, "This podcast is awesome! Exclamation point. Gives me something interesting to listen to while I work on Mondays." Actually, that's what everyone says.
That is the number 1 comment we've gotten, is either that or what Bubba says all the time, where he's like, now I get to waste time and not do my schoolwork.
Yeah, after last week's Pokemon discussion and your guys' love for the second gen, I thought I'd share something I found quite interesting. And that is that there's a theory out there that the Pokemon world of the 3 original Eevee evolutions, Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon, died in the Teak City Brass Tower when it burned and were resurrected by Ho-Oh as the 3 legendary beasts. Ekritique? Yeah. That was late. That was way late.
Because I was face palming and rubbing my head.
When it burned and were resurrected by Ho-Oh as the 3 legendary beasts, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. Looking forward to the next podcast, Jumanji.
Comment on that. I actually I like that theory a lot. It explains where these dogs came from. It also, of course, has the, whole type thing going on. It also expresses that city's obsession with the Eevee evolutions. You didn't play, so you didn't know, but there's actually a place that has a bunch of geishas, and each one has a different evolution of Eevee. One has Eevee, one has Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, and then also Espeon and Umbreon.
Yeah.
And so, the city has, this obsession with Eevee, and then that's where the 3 legendaries are from. the 3 legendary dogs. And
So
then also
it
Ho-Oh.
does make sense. It
Yeah,
does
like
make
that
sense.
actually, that makes sense a
Yeah.
lot.
I actually do really like those Pokemon kind of conspiracy theories or ideas. Like, they're really interesting.
They really are, especially the Coma one, just saying.
Yeah, and also...
Which, by the way, I didn't include in last week's thing. I'll make a note of it right now. I need to include that for you guys. I apologize.
Yeah, and another one that I like that I think, I don't remember where I
Hold
got it.
on. Are you going to refer to something involving the first gen?
Yes.
Then wait a second, because I believe that's talked about in another listener mail.
Is it? Okay.
Are you talking about with Gary?
And the Eradicate, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, that's gonna get
Okay.
spoilers. Okay, so 1 second while I make this note. Gunny, filler conversation.
I'm going to fill time while I fills out our notes.
All right, and we're back. All right, so our next
quick.
piece of listener mail is entitled "You Have Finally Returned" from, of course, Bubba Bishop.
Our number one fan.
Bishop.
Easily.
Number one fan that I've seen so far. And actually, no, I know Kaz listens to every show. Platt does. There's a lot of people who listen every week.
But don't write in.
But he has sent consistently these amazing long pieces. And also, I have to talk about the fact that he's like my own little, like, zealot that's just, like, totally for me.
Dear everyone but Papa Big Dick.
Yeah, and he begins, "Dear everyone but Papa Big Dick." Like I said earlier in the show, I don't think, or I might have said that off thing. I don't know if I said it on the show.
I think you set it off.
Okay, well, I had been talking about how I don't think that you guys like Papa Big Dick very much, which if that's true, let us know. We'll kick him off the show. No hard feelings.
I love Papa Big Dick.
I love him too. I have him listed as my fucking brother on Facebook. Trust me, I love the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is this is for the community, and if they're like, I don't like Filipinos because I'm a racist, rabble, then we'll go ahead and remove him from the show. However, not totally sure what you meant here, Bubba. Go ahead and clarify in your next listener mail.
I think
looking
it's
to
just
you.
being funny.
And he continues, "First and foremost, and goddamn it all, Toast, I must request you kill me. I will pay for gas for your car, a plane ticket, even a goddamn canal and a battleship to the middle of my town to blow my stupid ass up, as long as you fucking kill me for making the mistake of calling Cave Johnson the false name Clive. I literally shot myself in the head when you pointed that out on air. I'm writing this after regaining consciousness. You ought to have time to come out to execute me after resigning."
Just a quick note here. The way you type and the way I think it's said by you, it reminds me of one of our favorite YouTubers. What's his name? He rants about video games and he likes metal. You know
Oh
what I'm
my
talking about?
god, yes, the Rageaholic.
Yeah, the Rageaholic.
Rageaholic.
That's exactly who I picture
He
you
does,
talking
he
about.
does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you actually remind us a lot. If you guys haven't seen the Rageaholic stuff, go look him up. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite guys on YouTube. I love him. I love his style. I love his music choice. I love his insight, and he's so eloquent.
Yeah.
I have met very few people, myself included in that group, that can have that appearance of the whole rocker, like, you know, like, they look like you don't expect much, and then they speak incredibly eloquently, and you're like, what the fuck just came out of your mouth? Like, it used to catch people off guard in congressional debating when I did it. Because I walk in and people were like, who the fuck's this stoner? And then I start talking, and they're like, oh my god, he knows the Constitution better than anyone. But anyway, a little comment on that. You had said Clive, and you had said Left 4 Dead, so I could have sworn there was a guy in Left 4 Dead named Clive, so I thought that's who you were referring to. Johnson's a common name, so I wasn't sure. Gunny actually said that he thought you meant Cave. Thanks for the correction there. I'm not going to come kill you, though. Your listener mail is too entertaining for me to kill, and I also don't want to kill my one and only zealot so far. And also, man, that was a low blow saying that I ought to have time to come out to execute you after resigning from my positions. That's a low blow, okay? I'm personally very torn up about it. I didn't want to have to. That was mean. That's not cool, bro. He continues, "Speaking of which, fuck, like I have anything to say. I carry no weight here except my goddamn gut, which is mostly jello. Do whatever the hell you want, Toast. I cannot tell a god what to do." And he says, "Toast has declared that Windows 8 deserves death, therefore I shall burn the heretic known as Bill Gates. Toast has indirectly demanded a sacrifice to redress the problems created, and I respond to my deity."
Bill Gates is not the guy to blame for Windows 8. It would be Steve Ballmer, because he's the CEO of Microsoft now. Bill Gates is just chilling back, donating tons of money to charity.
I think he's still chairman of the board.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a say in all of these decisions.
He doesn't.
That's all Steve Ballmer.
Also, I love Bill Gates personally. I love him a lot more
Favorite
than Steve
ultimate
Jobs.
rich guy ever.
Yeah, he is. He does amazing things.
Yeah.
The one thing that I don't like about him is his take on education.
Bill Gates, why is that?
Yeah, his take on education is essentially throw money at school so gifted kids can get ahead, and if the other ones don't understand, oh well, sucks to be them. And I'm like,
interesting.
really? Like his whole idea is
I wouldn't picture
his
Bill
whole
Gates as that
idea
guy.
is throw money and technology at smart kids so they can advance because they're the ones who bring about the future.
Fun fact real quick. I read the news a couple days ago that Bill Gates is now once again the richest guy in the world. I think he's worth $78 billion now. He jumped ahead of that Mexican guy. So
That Mexican guy.
I forget his name.
Wow, I see how you are today. Anyway, and he continues to explain Pokemon to people who have never played it. Pokemon is a game in which you play a 10-year-old child who is convinced to travel the country trying to catalog all living beings in the country, while a lecherous old man sleeps with your mother, who happens to be single before you leave. You proceed to make a path of destruction through the country, mugging 8-year-olds, taking their lunch money, killing their Pokemon, and crushing their dreams. You also oust the most powerful criminal organization in the nation without the assistance of the government or any adults, and that's just the first generation. To which I say, bravo. The only way that I could have said it better is you're not killing other people's Pokemon, it's dog fighting, and you're just killing their puppies.
Oh, some of those moves, I don't know how you not.
Hydra Beagle, Vixen Eagle. Anyway, he's not going to be there for much longer. He continues, and this is what the conspiracy theory you're going to bring up.
Yes.
I didn't bring this up because we weren't doing a conspiracy theory show. We're going to do that one of these days. Video game conspiracies and then real life conspiracies.
I actually forgot that he said it, because I couldn't remember
Yeah,
if
he
said
did.
it. Okay.
And he says, you all forgot what is technically the biggest admission of death in Pokemon, which is the death of Gary motherfucking Oaks Rattata. After you battle him one time, you find him in a graveyard grieving, and in his next battle he lacks a Rattata. The explanation? You fucking murdered the little purple bastard. It could just be that in the remakes it was Eradicate, but I feel like I remember him having Eradicate, like it evolved.
But yeah, that
Regardless,
is still
his
kind of
Pokemon's gone.
That is kind of spooky when you think about it.
And not only that, when you meet him in Pokemon Tower, I believe he makes a snide remark about Pokemon deaths and grieving. Yeah. Like, he says something like, what, are you here to mourn the loss of your Pokemon? Yeah. And I feel that that's just compensation for grief. He also says, Ash is in the ultimate level of friend zone. Pity him, unless he's a Pokephile and Pikachu is his bitch. You never know.
Yeah, we never know.
No Rule 34 on this show. He continues, I have to somewhat argue with your rating in the first generation simply because of fucking psychic types. They were gods in the first gen as they had only a single weakness, being bug type. Ghost was originally non-damaging against psychic, and Dark wasn't around to fuck him up yet. Yes, that is true. Especially considering that Alakazam has the highest special attack in the first gen. He's a fucking tank. Mm-hmm. However, my argument is that psychic types aren't very well rounded. You could make a team of fire Pokemon. You can make a team of water Pokemon. You couldn't really make a team out of psychic Pokemon. It could be your trump card, but it's not unstoppable.
I'm trying to think, the only well-rounded, like, psychic type you would have is, like, Butterfree, and that'd be it.
Butterfree isn't psychic.
Well, he can learn psychic moves. Like, I mean, if you're looking at that.
He's not psychic, though. Yeah. He's talking about type advantage having to do with psychic, which, although it's true, you could really only go to Kadabra unless you were trading, and then you have Drowsy and Hypno, and...
Drowsy. Penis on face.
Penis on face. Dickhead, literally. He also says, fun tip for the first gen in yellow version, Giovanni's first Pokemon was always a Dugtrio with the following moves, Earthquake, Fissure, Sand Attack, and Dig. So if you took a level 2 or level 3 Pidgey, he couldn't touch it, so you could troll him by slowly attacking his precious Dugtrio.
Tackling him to death.
Yeah, the only thing that I have a problem with here is, although you technically could, with a level 2 or level 3 Pidgey, all he's gonna have is, like, attack and something else.
Sand Attack, I think.
Eventually, you're going to run out of moves, and he's gonna have to use Struggle, and that's gonna hurt him, and he'll eventually die. So I don't know if you could take down the Dugtrio, but you could troll, which is always fun. He also says Ditto is a useless pink whore. I addressed the Ditto conspiracy on the last show, didn't I?
Did you? Go ahead.
I believe I did.
Go ahead and do it again.
No, because I think I already did it.
Okay.
If I didn't, and here...
the Ditto's DNA is like part of Mew or something like that?
I believe I did on the show.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, if I didn't, guys, go ahead. Bubba, I'll actually trust you with this because I know you're listening. If I didn't discuss the theory behind Ditto in the last show, bring it up in your next listener mail. I'll love you forever and I'll address it next time. He also continues, second gen is the best of them all. He shall not be named for not playing it, so he can go jump off a goddamn cliff. Gunny. Third gen was fun, but the fucking searching of the seafloor with dive was annoying as fuck, period. You also forgot Jirachi, Latios, and Latios when discussing the third gen legendaries. I didn't forget. I didn't feel they were necessary.
Latios and Latios had a movie around them, I know that.
I didn't like them. And then Jirachi was an event thing, and he was just kind of there. The Wish Pokemon was fucking gay. In terms of exploring the seafloor with dive, I liked it. It was annoying because it wasn't as big. I wanted more to it, but I thought it was kind of cool. Personally. Fourth and fifth gen can fuck themselves except for Torterra and Darkrai. Meh. This is news for me, and I'd also like a source on this just to confirm. He says, considering the Eevees, the 6th gen is a goddamn fairy type. The new incoming type, they're running out of ideas. I agree. They're introducing fairy type, which makes me very, very kind of like,
when
fuck
you
yourself.
have a Pokemon that's a refrigerator, you run out of ideas. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, they ran out of ideas a long time ago, but introducing a fairy type is really low. It makes me feel like they're moving closer and closer to the types that were presented
They're
in
gonna have
Yu-Gi-Oh!
like a My Little Pony Pokemon. It's like a pony. They're gonna do that.
Shut
has
the
to
fuck
happen.
up.
That like
Shut the
I'm just
fuck
thinking.
up.
And their fucking thought process is like, we've made a fucking refrigerator. All of a sudden, there's a My Little Pony Pokemon.
And you know what? If they do, I will personally go on a hunt killing every single brony I see because I cannot stand MLP. Bronies who are listening, I actually consider you scum of the earth. I'm sorry, but I do. No, that's horrible. That is horrible. Continuing, brave little toaster in all caps, no spaces. That actually broke my headphones. They shorted out at that when I yelled brave little toaster. He says, on a different note, I agree that everything you've said about the series, I was a little old when I watched these, and I asked my mom what this dominatrix shit was. She just told me to let my younger sister enjoy it while she was semi-innocent. I agree. They call him Master the whole time. It's fucking disturbing.
Master.
Yeah. He also said Pokemon Snap was first person, just putting it out there. I don't consider that a Pokemon game. I mean, technically, that's like considering Pokemon Pinball a game. On
I
the
enjoyed
original.
Pokemon Snap, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Pokemon game. You took pictures. That was gay.
But it had
That was
Pokemon.
gay. Anything else to add?
No.
Well, it was gay. You not adding this is gay. Anyway, I continue. Oh, by the way, out there, I'm not homophobic or a gay basher. Sorry. We'll have a discussion of words in one of our things. Cause I do want to talk about words in one of our, in language.
I think people are smart enough to not.
Just saying.
Assume.
Just saying. I also said and all of your other suggestions would limit the human population. Why? Because so many people would enter the ultimate nerd zone, no girl would even contemplate fucking them, let alone consider bearing the tainted children this union would create. He's talking about my suggestions about the Pokemon series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they would breed ultra nerds.
Oh, yeah.
No, because I feel that we could get women in on that. Just saying. Also, now that we're free of Pokemon stuff, just curious, what was the musical clip during the second break? I'm guessing Les Mis, but I've never seen it, so I'm not sure. Yes, that was the 2012 version of Les Mis with Hugh Jackman and starring Jean Valjean, who was one of the people in there, and Russell Crowe, who was doing Javert. Anne Hathaway wasn't in that scene. We did the confrontation.
Yeah.
Great movie. Go watch it. I've been totally dorking out about it. If you haven't, then Bubba here will kill anyone who hasn't watched it yet. Looking at you, Gunny. Continuing. My theology essay was a success, and because you've taken so long to get to the episode out, I actually have another one due tomorrow. I did it first this time, but it's on abortion, the only topic I've ever seen in which people abandon logic faster than a prostitute can, than a prostitute's clam abandons its shell. I'm not even gonna get into that one right now. That'll spend 20 minutes.
We don't have that.
Continuing, I definitely support the idea of a weekly tirade. It'll give me something else to waste my time listening to. I'm probably going to this summer. He continues, my dog is a Bulldog, Jack Russell Terrier, Labrador mix, pure, complete mutt, and he's dumber than everything other than Gunny.
Oh.
He at least attempted to play second gen when I set my Game Boy down.
Oh, wow.
So you suck, Gunny. We already knew this. In terms of mutts, I've actually had multiple mutts. My favorite dog of all time was a mutt. It was a lab, pit bull, and shepherd mix. Smartest dog I've ever fucking met. Amazing dog. You continue, I'm intrigued by your impending haircut. I'm a skinhead, and if you get my hairstyle, I'm your brother that was stolen at a young age. That's actually up in the air again. My girlfriend has now expressed that she really, really doesn't want me to cut my hair, and she was just trying to make me happy.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Which makes me go, I'm torn right now. Yes, I can go, bitch, it's my hair, but at the same time, we are in a very, very close relationship where we value each other very much. Continuing, he says, my meds are irrelevant. We are one, we are legion, we are eternal. Funny little story. In your next listener mail, which will hopefully be shorter so I can address. See, here's the problem, Bubba. You send these long things and I can't really go in depth on anything. Ask me in your next listener mail about with the voices you're never alone. That'll be a funny story. That'll be a funny story for on air. He also said, so sorry, voice number 4, took control during that last line. Cool by me. I'd like to hear voice number 5 though. He sounds like a cool guy. He also continues, it has also reached the point that I must also call out Yeesus. I want to hear you be thrashed with the logic of my toastly divine. Let it begin. He also continues, if you hadn't noticed, I don't talk about Gunny much, and it's mostly negative, just a subtly veiled threat. Ignore that, Gunny. Toast, I would like to speak with you over things considering Gunny. ... We shall begin. Meet me behind the park bench at 10:30 on Wednesday. Continues, almost done, guys. Lastly, I would like to request the song Another Way to Die by Disturbed for the outro. You're gonna go ahead and get that, because you're the only request so far. And finalizing, arguing with the voices over whether or not Toast would like a sacrificial offering of dead hipsters. Bubba, yes, I would. Go ahead and clear out your local coffee shop, and you will appease me.
All right. Next piece of listener mail is from our founder, Raz. He always writes in every week. Thank you, Raz, for writing in. And it's entitled, Oh Hey. I'd love to read it. Okay.
Sorry, I pulled up the thing to see how far we were. We've gone over 20 minutes in this listener mail. I love it. I love it.
So, real quick, I'm getting into PC gaming. Into PC gaming, Toast and Gunny. Why? Because everyone is so much more mature. Blame Verboten Donkey, but he got me into Arma 2 and it's everything I want in a game. I might disappear one day and that will be the reason. Yours truly, Raz! A couple notes. First of all, Arma 2, I've seen those gameplay videos that Verboten post on the forums. That's awesome. Like, I love watching those. Like, sometimes I'm not a big fan of watching these video game videos on YouTube, but that one I found very interesting. Second, PC gaming is awesome, and I mean, I'd love to play it more, but I'm not really a huge fan of the mouse and keyboard. But
I use a plug-and-play controller. Go ahead and hate me for it. Haters are gonna hate. The one thing that I need is, like I've said, I have this amazing laptop that has all the specs except for a good video and graphics card. And once I get enough money, I'm gonna buy those and install them, and you're gonna see me a lot less on Xbox as well. I'll probably just start buying things exclusively for the PC. But here's my only thing that I ask, Raz. If you do end up disappearing one day and you leave FC, I want your final thing to be promoting me to Overlord and Emperor.
of everything.
Of everything. Like, it's similar to the Founder title, but I'm the Overlord and Emperor. If you're hesitant, which I can understand hesitation, I will say this, you can talk to Platinum. Him and I have had, of course, many conversations, us being very close. And according to him, I sound like you 95% of the time in terms of the way in which we view the community, our similar ideals, etc. So go ahead. This is your shout out to me. Hit me up on Skype. There's actually a lot I've wanted to talk to you about. And so I'm just saying, we're very, very close. I think we could work something out, and you could promote me to Emperor of everything.
And now for our last piece of listener mail, finally.
Which is being brought to us by a guy named Cameron. I won't give the last name.
Is
His
this
name
Helix
is
or
Rip Helix.
Felix?
I
Yeah.
believe it is Rip Helix, yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, I'm so sorry. I don't know actual names that well.
Yeah, like, give us your gamer tag.
Yes, include your gamer tag in the listener mail, except for Bubba, because his last name is Bishop, and it's just, yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, it's entitled Hope It Isn't Too Late. He actually sent that to us right before we began recording. That was awesome. My phone buzzed with an email right before we started. And he continues, well, no real rant for you guys to pick apart and grill me for, like I said in the forum. He goes, couldn't think of anything good and fun, so hopefully next week. But that damn video you mentioned in the last podcast, yeah, I watched it. And you know what? After I realized I was in that clip, I claimed shenanigans. Damn you, Toast. You and that damn speed boost and always somehow having a sword. Not to mention your damn bolt shot, noob. Haha, kidding, man, but seriously, we miss you, guy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I really hope it all turns out well for you and hope you can make it back soon. Well, I guess that's all for now. In terms of things working out, it seems to be. I should be good. Hopefully I'll return when I can. In terms of that clip, he's referring to the one on my file share where I rape shit in a custom game. Fucking hilarious, great
Have
shit.
you submitted that to the FC Top 5 yet?
I always forget.
Yeah.
And also I'm hesitant to because apparently Purple's using it in a montage for Blue.
Okay.
And so I don't want the clip to be used multiple times because then it'll get old and stale. But, yeah, go ahead and see that on my file share if you want, if you're bored and you have nothing better to do. But, yeah, what he's referring to is my ability to somehow always get a great close quarters combat weapon and a speed boost, and I kind of rape shit with him. I think I went positive 36 scrimming with guys, using nothing but the bolt shot, the sword, and occasionally the sniper, and getting speed boost all the time. It was fucking nuts. He continues, he goes, oh yeah? Let the word out that myself and some of the other guys are trying to get a machinima going about the FC lore, and if anyone is interested to hit up either myself, Zeta Crossfire, or Bazonga Man, or whoever else is on that thread, and we can link them to the discussion or whatever, good shit, thanks guys. He gives me the link. I'm gonna go ahead, here's my call out to you, go ahead and link it yourself in the comments, and that's not me trying to get out of work or saying that you should do it on your own, but I want you to be there so people can have a link to your profile so they can get in contact with you right away. I feel it'll just be easier. But yeah, so if they're gonna make a machinima about FC lore, you guys definitely get in touch with them, help them. They're gonna need help with, actors, they're gonna need help with voice acting, stuff like that. Depending on when you guys are doing it, actually go ahead and, anybody listening who's a part of this, go ahead and hit me up. I will actually totally do machinima with you, including voice acting or anything that you guys want to do. Gunny might here.
Yeah, also. I'm available.
I would be great. I think it'd be fun. I would be great. I think it would be great. But yes, I think I'd be great as well. I'm already recording my voice weekly for this damn community.
Yeah, and I think that clears it up for the listener mail this week. Great listener mail. I think we're gonna have to start shortening other segments to make up for this because.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I love though, guys. You know what? I'm gonna start a poll.
Okay.
In this episode. It's gonna be late. Spoiler alert, you already have seen it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be asking how long you want the podcast.
Okay.
Because if the majority wants it longer, I'll be okay with making longer ones so we can have full-length segments and the community into it that we do. Because I don't want it to be all community. I want us to also have that discussion part, but I don't want to skimp on the community stuff. So go ahead, and guys, go ahead if you haven't already posted whether you want a longer show or not. But yeah, in terms of this is great. This is the community giving back, and this is us directly addressing what you guys have been wanting, what you guys want.
Yeah.
What you talk about and that kind of stuff. So it's great.
Yes. But yeah, we've usually kept them around an hour, at least tried to.
Never works out too
But
well.
yeah, give us your feedback and we'll see what we can do.
So yeah, for that, I think that's going to go ahead and conclude this week's podcast. Thank you guys for listening, of course. New one next week. We're definitely not going on leave again anytime soon from them. Again, that contest for listener mail is going to be held to raffle off 800 Microsoft points. Go ahead and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your family's friends.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Climbing in your window, snatching your people up. Well, I'm not going to be. Bubba's going to be climbing in because he's my religious zealot who does whatever I command.
All right. Well, on that note, I think me and Toast will bid you all adieu until next week. This has been the FC Podcast. Anything to say?
This concludes episode 9 of the FC Podcast.
Yes,
Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay tuned, of course, for next week's show. Send us in codes, send us in listener mail, and with that, I bid you all
Go fuck yourself.
every